Financial wellness. Reach out to them for advice at 855-DON-GINO. And now back to your hosts, Don Getling and Gino Franti.
To the Don and Gino Real Estate and Finance Show. And today, joining me, as we did last segment, Mr. Rob Schwartz with Premier College Guidance, helping sit in for Don Getling, who is having a great time riding some hills in Mexico.
I'm not as pretty. I'm not as smart. I'm certainly fatter. Don, we miss you. But hey, I'm standing in, and I'm going to do the best darn job I can for you, pal.
Oh, boy. And with the bad comedy, so you are doing a good job, just like Don.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
Well, thanks for joining us on the Don and Gino Real Estate and Finance Show today at KHTS AM 1220. And we are talking about great opportunities being brought to us by the tumultuous things that are happening abroad. We spent quite a bit of time talking about Greece and what's going to happen there. So remember, Greece is just going to get out of the limelight for a little bit, but they'll be back. They'll be back for more for sure.
Bet your bottom dollar on it. They will, whether it's a year or 2 or 3, they will find their way back into this exact same situation again.
So in true tradition of the Don and Gino Real Estate and Finance Show, our job is to help you on the road of personal and financial wellness. And today, Rob and I are doing that in a little bit different way. So I'd like to invite you to donandgino.com to check out our streaming video. You can watch us streaming live here in the Vault Media Studios as Furman with AP Productions and Lisa and Tina are back there behind the curtain helping us out and getting us going here on the show. One of the things we've always done for the last 4 years with Don is we've stayed ahead of the market. We've been able to call opportunities in the market, whether they've been real estate opportunities, bankruptcy opportunities, and yes, bankruptcy can be an opportunity, short sale opportunities, whatever opportunities we see in a marketplace, we've been able to call them maybe 3 to 6 months before they happen because we have an ability with the National Real Estate Cafe to see trends before they happen. And today, Rob and I have chosen 2 opportunities to go over this segment. And, you know, they may not sound like opportunities. It might sound like really old stuff, right? Like I'm dusting off the old investments. But I want to talk a little bit about oil, and I want to talk a little bit about gold. And these are 2 investments that I see for the next, you know, and these might be long plays, guys. I'm not talking about, hey, let's buy it real quick and get out next year and try to make 20%. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about this is a great investment going forward for the next 10, 15, maybe 20 years. So if your time horizon on your retirement is 10, 15, 20 years out, these are 2 things to take a look at.
Now, I'm going to jump ahead into gold if I can here,
Sure.
Gino, because I'm an older. I'm an
I
owner.
knew that.
Well, I'm
Hey,
getting older, but that's...
You're doing really good at this Don thing.
Oh, come on now. Getling, young bastard. Gold is something that I've been investing in for a number of years, particularly in gold stocks, not in bullion per se. And I have watched my investment get crushed. So for those of you who got into gold 2 or 3 years ago, just like me, you're suffering. And the news that I've received and the research that I've done indicates that it's going to get worse before it gets better. As a matter of fact, I was doing some research on goldeagle.com, which is a major market newsletter for the gold markets. And they basically said all the technical indicators show a bottoming somewhere between, say, 900 and 1,040 an ounce. So that's anywhere between $60 and $160 drop that is expected over the next 2 to 10 months.
That's beautiful. Again, what I'm talking about is opportunity, right? I know it hurts if you're holding gold right now, but if you've got a 20-year timeline, it really shouldn't matter. So ultimately what I'm looking at with gold is we are in a completely worldwide deflationary environment, and that's what's making gold not attractive, right? It's not as shiny as it used to be. So what I'm looking at is we can't stay in a worldwide deflationary environment forever. The only way that countries can have growth is to have inflation. So somehow, some way, governments are trying to create inflation artificially. You know that thing, QE1, 2, 3, 4, 1,000 that we went through? That's exactly what we did. We created inflation to avoid deflation. And you may not see any inflation, but we avoided deflation, which is just as important, if not more important.
Agreed, Gino. And what I'm going to say to the listeners who are tuning in now is stay the course. Dollar cost average. Every single month I'm getting dividends on those gold stocks. What am I doing? I'm buying more. I'm buying more. And as the price comes down, I'm buying larger numbers. Eventually it's going to turn around. Whether it's a year or 2 or 3, I'm in it for the long haul. My retirement window is 20 to 25 years from now. So I know the more I buy while it's down, there will be a recovery and there will be a profit to be had when the time is right.
Yeah, I couldn't agree with you more. One of the things we talked about is the psychological barrier of 1,000, right? And I know I talked about that with Dennis Kotzman here in our office at Skyline Home Loans as well. So the word is on the street. We're all starting to talk about gold, right? Nobody's necessarily diving in head first, but we're all starting to talk about it. So if the early chatter is, hey, this might look good, hey, there's an opportunity here, what's going to happen is it's probably going to cross that threshold of 1,000 with quite a bit of momentum, because it's going to cause a little bit of fear. Oh my God, it's under 1,000. It's never going to go up again. And every time you hear that, whenever you hear that something's never going to go up again, please buy it.
Absolutely. The old adage, buy low, sell high, has never been more true than now. So realize that it's not like gold is going out of style forever. It might have gone out of style for a couple of years, but if you flash back to, say, even as early as 2012, 3 years ago, gold was trading at, what, $3,000 an ounce?
2 and change, yeah. So, but one of the things that I want to bring attention to is, if you have any fear at all in large worldwide economies, any fear at all, like what happened in China a few weeks ago, that was really scary, right? If they go into any sort of liquidity crisis, and all of a sudden gold becomes really attractive really quick. So not to bang on this drum too hard, but just take heed, talk to your financial planners. If you don't have one, we have a great one in the APRG group, in the America's Professional Resource Group. Chris Ingram is a great financial planner. He's the one I'm working with. He helps you diversify your portfolio. I'm also not saying go all in on gold. I'm saying take consideration of something that might work in your portfolio. If you don't have any coverage, now's a good time to get some.
Gold star, baby.
Well, beautiful. Even while Don's away, I'm gaining gold stars. So thank you for joining us this fine Saturday morning on AM 1220 KHTS on the Don and Gino Real Estate and Finance Show. And we haven't talked a lot of real estate today. We're actually talking about other things that affect the worldwide economy, which ultimately will affect real estate. But if you're here for real estate talk, stick around, because we will talk real estate today. One more thing we wanted to talk about with Rob here is oil. I feel oil is another one of these great opportunities, just like gold.
I know that here in California, we're saying there's something wrong. We've got oil at, I think it's $55 a barrel, which is dirty cheap. Stupid cheap.
Cheapest it's been in decades.
Why is gas $4.20?
All kinds of excuses. Refineries, this, that, the other thing, something blew up somewhere, whatever. The reality is taxes. You know what? I was just in Fresno a week ago. It's $1 less in Fresno than it is in Los Angeles County.
Yeah, but you have to be in Fresno.
Okay, that's a good point, but that's taxation. That's what we're seeing here in Los Angeles County. There are city taxes. There's all kinds of taxes in our gas here. But oil itself in its raw form is very cheap. And although most of us think of oil as a transportation vehicle, and we think that that's the largest consumer in the world, it's not. Petroleum-based products are everywhere. You would be surprised how many things in your car are made from petroleum, plastics and industrial use and all these other things that have almost nothing to do with commuter use, for those of you that think that the Prius has now replaced oil and it'll never go back up.
And when we start talking about what's going to happen down the road, I mean, that's why we're here, right? What's going to happen a year or 2 years from now? What opportunities are there within the oil markets? My gut instinct and the research that I've done says don't expect a lot of change here. We've got extreme inventories in the United States. Our national reserves are topped off. And all of those people who are out there yelling, drill, baby, drill, well, America heard you. We are now the #1 largest oil-producing nation in the world.
And that's driven the prices down. But also, and I'm not much of a conspiracy theorist, Rob, but that also gives us control, which we've never had before. So if we decide to hold those inventories and store those inventories and not release them to the world for XYZ reason, it gives us... We've never had oil power. We've always been on the opposite side of this thing. So for the first time in history, we've got power in oil.
Agreed across the board. One other thing I would say, There is a certain amount of greed involved in some of these decisions, like the Tesoro station shutting down for its annual maintenance during the busiest week of the year in July. Every year? Come on, guys.
Hey, it's a planned maintenance. So stick around. We're going to talk about more opportunities here at the Don and Gino Real Estate and Finance Show on AM 1220 KHTS. We'll talk a little bit more about oil because I want to talk about the geopolitical influence and what that's going to do. And stick around. We're going to talk about student loans, the next big bubble.